we're actually just going live while we're about to do a podcast with Jason Pantana. If you're not following him, you should be following him on all social channels. This is a continuation of a podcast series we're doing where we're talking about social. Jason, are you on your phone right now? We're talking about social media and you're on your phone.
I got a comment. I got to respond to the comment right now. Somebody just slid into my DM. I got to do it now.
So basically, you just showed people exactly what social media is really all about. It has nothing to do with the post. It has everything to do with the comments.
Yes.
Comments. Interesting.
Yes. Yeah, in fact, yeah.
So look, if you've been watching or listening to our podcast, we're going actually live right now, which is kind of fun too for a first time. In the last show, we talked about macro. What is marketing? How does it work? Right. Sort of the framework, the objective of marketing. It's a thinking game. I think the overarching thing that people are going to really get from the last show was that branding, whether that's a direct mail postcard, a billboard, a television ad, a social post, a video you produce, a direct mail piece you do, all those things create this thing called your brand, which at the end of the day creates familiarity and creates trust.
Yes.
Familiarity and trust is where leads come from, it's where sales comes from, it's where referrals come from.
100%.
And social makes it so much easier and so much cheaper than it took in the past, right? Like
it's the place to go get the trust.
Exactly, and you can do it every single day, all day, but so many people do it wrong. So why don't we just start with just the obvious question, as it relates to branding and familiarity and trust to ultimately generate a better and bigger business. We're talking all social platforms today. What do you see as the sort of overarching role or objective of all things social?
All right, so overarching objective, role, goal.
Yeah.
I mean, you just kind of nailed it with the opening, which we already just talked about, which is the reason we do marketing in the first place is I got to create a context of people trust me, they know my brand, they know me well enough so that when I run lead generating offers at what's called a warm audience, it's not completely out of the blue, meaning I have some context, some rapport. So when I look at social media, I'm like, this is the place where I go get the trust. That's so my job to get trust, how do I do that? Through a conversation. Where I talk and then you talk and then I talk through comments and likes and hearts and posts and sharing and all those different things. Like this is where we have conversation now.
Yeah.
To me, that's what social is just how do I have a conversation with everybody all the time?
Yeah.
And for some people, they're like, I'm very introverted. This sounds terrible for me, but that's what it is, right? It's a social platform.
Yes. So for the people that are watching live, just get the context that we're rarely in the middle of a podcast and you just have to be joining us. For my friends on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, and really only because of a lack of phone, I don't have Twitter up there also, so sorry for my friends on Twitter. We only have 3 phones to go. So here's the deal, like there's so many people talking about social strategies and tactics. The 3 things I wrote down were in Selfie Nation, social proof, and vanity. Some people immediately get what I'm saying. Some people immediately go, oh, that's why I don't like it. Can you just kind of talk about Selfie Nation? Like all things Selfie Nation.
Yeah, so I'll look at the camera.
I feel like I should take a selfie, but my phone is over there right now.
Want to borrow mine?
Yeah, can I borrow yours just to feel like in context with, right? Like that kind of shit freaks people out, but I think it actually lets people know who you really are.
It does freak people out, but here's the deal. And I've talked to a lot of agents and business owners and people in all different walks of life.
Yeah.
And there's this similar thread of resistance to it, and it really, you said the word vanity, and I think it really kind of ties into this idea of, it is just so vain of me to post pictures of myself, like the duck face or whatever. Like they just think it's ridiculous and it's for kids or it's for this or for that, and they're like, here's my point, it's a selfie nation. Like right now, you can read the stats on, say, Instagram. I can't remember what report I was reading last night, but I was reading a report on engagement on different social platforms, and on Instagram, like, if you post a picture of yourself.
I just have to interrupt really fast. If you're watching this live, if you go to my Instagram stories, I believe in my Instagram stories there is a photo of Jason playing shuffleboard with me last night with a few other people. And he did have a glass of wine, that's why he doesn't remember the report. Anyway, keep going.
Come on. All right, so we are talking about Selfie Nation. So here's the deal, man. Like, if you post a picture of yourself on Instagram, let's say, you have like a 39% increased rate of engagement. Just by posting a picture of yourself. And people are like,
39%?
It's like, I think it was 39. It was like 35 or 39. I can't remember which.
Regardless, it's a big increase.
It's significant. And so why is the question? Well, because it's your profile. It's your business. And people are coming to look at you, to see you, to engage with you. And your expectation when you're on their profiles is that you're on their profiles. And so here's the deal. Like we've been in social media land for long enough now that people need to get accepting of the fact that, you know what, I'm going to post a picture of myself. I'm going to use my phone as a camera. And it's not vain. It's the culture. It's the etiquette of those platforms. And in fact, like when you look at my social, for example, if I post a picture of my kids, I'll get a lot of likes and hearts and stuff. If I post a picture of me, I'll typically get more.
Really?
Now, if I post a picture of me with my kids, I'll get even more. But most people are like, oh, whenever I post a picture of my dog or my kids or whatever, I get the most engagement. But that's not really true anymore. Really, it's when you post a picture that you're in, you get the most engagement.
Because it's your profile and they liked your page.
And what's the objective here? The objective is, I want people to become familiar with me and my business and what I stand for and who I'm for and all this and that, so they can make a decision about, do they like me, do they trust me, will they do business with me? And really, I think here's where the fear steps in. A lot of people are like, I don't want to be judged on that platform. I don't want people to say they don't like me, but if you, I mean, you said it before, like.
I've got my friends on YouTube watching us right now, they're like, what are you talking about? You're not giving us any love, you're talking about Instagram, screw you guys, right?
I know, but the reality is,
you got to accept it.
You'll have lovers, you'll have haters, you'll have fans, you'll have people who are not your fans, they're the opposition, whatever, but if you're not taking a step to build your brand, then you're for nobody, you're a secret agent, you're a secret business owner, and nobody knows who you are.
What about the vanity side of it? People get in their head like, I mean, you certainly validated the reason why they should get over it with the 35 or 39% increase with you as a part of it. But vanity or insecurity, just a lot of people are just afraid to do it. What do you say to them? Like, talk to them as a business coach.
So I will. So
what are they losing by not doing it?
Well, they're losing plenty, but I want to get under the issue as to why they're not doing it. I mean, vanity is really the scapegoat. It's really not about vanity. That's the alibi. Oh, it's so vain. People who do that are so vain. It's all about them. They think they're so special.
Egotistical, narcissistic.
Yada. Really what they're saying at that point in time is, I'm unwilling to put myself and be vulnerable in front of my potential customers so that they can get to know me. It's really not about you or me. When you go live on YouTube, giving YouTube the love, when you go live on Instagram, whatever, you're doing it for them, for the people who are watching, not for yourself. And so when I look at vanity, I'm like, last time I checked, when you went into business to serve people. And if you're going to be a secret agent, a secret business owner, whatever, then you're not putting yourself in a position where people can get to know you. And you're basically saying, hey, no, door's closed. I'm in charge, not you. This is my rules, not your rules. And so vanity's the scapegoat. What it really is I'm afraid of being judged for what I stand for, whatever. But what I would say to the business owner is, when you went into business, you went into business to serve. And it's not about you. Plain and simple.
So big shout out to my buddy Todd Herman, who wrote the book, The Alter Ego, right? So I'm jumping ahead here. A lot of what we talk about is this question around personal versus business. What percentage should I post for this? What percentage should I post for that? So I'm going to bounce a little bit with you and say, what are your thoughts on that?
So for a long time, I mean, you've heard there's different frameworks. There's just jab, right hook. Different kinds of ways of breaking down this many personal for this many business or professional posts. And it's this idea of, we've taught it before, like nobody drinks coffee from concentrate. They dilute it with water. So the idea is, I don't want to throw a business proposition at you all day long, so I dilute it with personal stuff. And I would say to you, that doesn't work anymore.
I agree.
So really what it is, like I think about it as, you're an actor in Hollywood and you don't break character. So you have to decide.
Say that again.
You're an actor in Hollywood and you don't break character. You have to decide, like, what's the character of my business? And I'm not saying like fake it, but I think you get my point.
No, this is the alter ego stuff that I want to get into. So keep going.
So the point is, like, I have to create a clear brand in terms of, what do I care about? What do I talk about? Who am I for? Because otherwise I'm denying people the chance to get to know me online and offline, so to speak. So I say don't break character, and what that means is, like, most people, when they do like their business on Facebook, let's say they're doing a business post on their personal profile, just for instance, which Facebook doesn't like, but whatever, I digress. Let's just say they're doing that. Well, they might have the night before posted a picture of them at their daughter's graduation or whatever, and they probably got 200 likes and comments and little teary-eye reactions and all this love and support, and people were just like, oh, yay for you, and they felt, you love me, you really love me. That's how they felt. And then the next day they posted their new listing.
And they got
And it was crickets.
no likes,
No
no
likes.
shares, no comments.
And they're like thinking, but what about me? Does
Yeah.
nobody love me?
yeah,
And
no one loves my listing.
yeah, and so they start having a little pity party and all
Yeah.
this and that. And here's what really happened. They broke character.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't promote your business. I'm saying you have to be tactical in the way you promote your business.
Mm-hmm.
So like a classic example, there's this post of actually your brother, Patrick,
Mm-hmm.
where he's taking a selfie, Selfie Nation,
Yeah.
right out in front of a yard sign at an open house, and it was like 100 and whatever degrees outside,
Yeah.
and he said the AC's broken inside and he's sweating bullets out there.
Yeah.
So the question is, was that a business post or a personal post?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was both.
Yeah.
And he got like hundreds of likes and comments and super
And it
awesome
was
engagement.
context specific, relevant to everyone in San Diego that day. Everyone's like, it's so hot.
It's so hot. Yes.
Yeah.
So he didn't break character. He
Yeah.
accomplished both missions
Yeah.
at once.
Yeah.
And you see this dip, and it's like most people are like, man, last night you posted this picture of you doing something crazy and wild or whatever. Today you think you're all business, and it's like a mullet.
Yeah.
It's like I've got the business up front, party in the back
Party in
kind
the
of a thing,
Yeah.
and you're breaking character. People don't know how to react because
Yeah.
it's not authentic to you. And if you look at any trends that are being predicted in terms of, like, for example, how influencers are going to be handling their social media this year, there's going to be an uptick in value placed on authenticity.
Yes.
This whole sterile, is it kind of manicured lifestyle and whatever, that's not going to work anymore.
Every shot in a Rolls Royce, getting on the jet, partying,
Yeah.
right? Like, okay, we got it.
You got to get the behind the
Yeah,
scenes.
Yeah.
Not-
How
you
did
gotta-
you get there?
Yeah.
Show me what you do in the morning. Show me what you look like when you look like shit.
Yeah. So we have
Right.
clients, like, for example, they're not posting their listing videos
Yeah.
on Instagram, for instance. They're taking photos and videos of the guy who's doing the video
Exactly.
and showing the behind the scenes and creating the narrative.
Yeah.
But it's just this, let's go deep with people and build a conversation because, and here's the strategy part of it.
Mhm.
If I don't build that conversation, that trust, then I don't have what I need to get tactical, which, like in our next podcast,
Yeah.
we're gonna start getting super tactical in terms of these ads, these types of things to
Yeah.
do, these actions to take.
Yeah.
But
For my friends that are jumping in live, we're doing the second part of a podcast series on marketing with Jason Pantana from leading our Marketing Edge event, one of our top coaches. The first one we talked about sort of macro level, all things marketing. Now we're going sort of macro level, all things social. So just want to let the people know that are just jumping in. So Jason, I'm going to bounce again. We started talking about social proof. We started talking about familiarity and trust. Can you give us some examples of good and bad positionings, good and bad moves when you want to create social proof that you are someone that they should trust?
yeah,
If I'm just perusing your page, or I followed a hashtag and suddenly saw you, or
All
a
right.
friend tagged me for some strange reason because this agent over here said tag in a friend and yada yada yada. Like, talk about the whole social proof as it relates to
so
this.
this is where it gets a little bit tricky, and it
Yeah.
could even sound slightly contradictory. So
Yeah.
let me just frame
Yeah.
it for a second.
Perfect.
We're talking about maintaining authenticity, being yourself. I mean, there's nothing newfangled here. Be yourself.
Yes.
Don't break character. Don't worry so much about I haven't done my however many personal posts to earn my token for my business post,
Yeah.
but instead,
Yeah.
just kind of hold the line, do you on social.
Can I say one thing before you jump into that?
Absolutely.
What I was talking about is find your tribe. Find your tribe. You be you, and you will attract people that naturally like, trust, want to refer, want to do business with you. But if you try and fake a bunch of shit, if you try and act a certain way that you are not, and then they meet you, they're like, it's the old
Disconnect.
metaphorical example of you get an agent's business card, and you look at the photo, and you're like, oh my God, like, she is stunning, and then she shows up, and you're like, wait a minute, like, it's a 10-year-old
Can I-
photo, sort of metaphorically or not. And I say to myself, what else does this person lie about?
Can I take you on a really crazy tangent?
Please.
With that? This is not even
We're
related
live
at
and
all.
we're podcast, so it's all good.
Do you remember like a month or two ago, there was that hashtag, like, have you aged over 10 years? Do you remember
Oh
that one?
yes, of course.
There was an agent who posted his headshot hasn't changed in like 20 years. So,
So
he
great.
did the one half, the old one, and the one half, the new one, the same one, as if
Yeah.
it's the new one. He's like, haven't aged a bit.
Okay,
Great, all right.
so we're talking social proof.
Yeah, all right, so we're talking social proof. So here's the contradictory part.
Yeah.
I'm trying to create a context where you can know me, like me, trust me, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But social proof, you need it in your social media marketing.
Yes.
A lot of people are like, I don't want to be that agent who's always bragging about my
Yeah.
accomplishments.
Another
But you,
sale, transaction,
Yes.
yada yada.
but
happy
you're
seller.
denying your people what they need.
Yes.
They need that, and here's why. Like,
Yes.
for example, this is an analogy for you. When I was a little boy, my twin brother and I were making a batch of cookies with our older sister. She's like 11 years older than us, Lisa. Lisa's a very wonderful person. I love her dearly. She knows this. Cooking's not her forte, nor is it mine.
I was like wondering where you're going with this.
I'm trying, she'll probably watch this, and I'm trying not to insult her. Love
Sorry,
you, Lisa. Love you. Anyways, we're making cookies, and she mistakenly put salt in place of the sugar in the recipe. And so we make the cookies and we go to taste them, and they were just horrendous.
Yeah.
They were so bad.
Yeah.
So anyways, we threw them away because they were useless at that point. But then I was thinking about social proof and social media marketing and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, you know what? Social proof is like putting salt in the recipe for your cookie batter. If you put too much salt, gag me, it's awful.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have any salt, well, then you got no flavor at this point in time. So like, I think of social proof as what your people need to have confidence in you. I know a lot of agents who like they avoid the social proof thing, and they're like, I'm not getting the referrals, I'm not getting all the love on Facebook and Instagram, and how are the people winning on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm doing so much and not getting results? And I would say the answer is social proof, because here's the deal. What does it take? Like if you're gonna refer me business, what am I asking you to do? I'm asking you to put your neck on the line and say, I'm so confident that Jason's gonna deliver that I'm willing to put my reputation on the line that he does. And so if I'm successful, well then by extension, when you refer me, you are too. I'm giving you the tokens, the confidence that referring me or working with me is cool, because working with me says something about you. Referring me says something about you as the referring party. Does that make sense?
So 100%. I'm going to ask you, I know we're going to do the whole next show just on tactics, but tease us right now. Why don't you share with us, give us like 2 or 3 good examples, right? And then I really want to talk to you about how ones should audit all of their social channels to make sure they're doing right. So let's go first with...
In this whole social proof context?
In the context.
Great example of, I think, Instagram social proof is Aaron and Krista Farr, F-A-R-R. They're out in Spokane, Washington. They're crushing it. This is their first full year in the business, and they're crushing it this year.
Give us an example. Like, what are they going to do?
So Spokane, so right now they're on pace for, they're going to hit probably about 800 grand this year
in GCI. In Spokane.
In Spokane.
And the average
right now they're over
400.
I'm basing that off of where we are in the year and where they are in their production. So I'm assuming a constant. But yeah, just doing rough math, they're on pace for 750, 800 GCI right now. If they continue at this pace. Now, if you ask them, where's the business coming from? Well, it's mostly through referrals. How are you staying in touch with the people you know, your past clients? Well, not even your past clients, your sphere of influence. You don't have past clients, really, not yet.
Yeah, you do.
And the answer is Instagram and Facebook is what they're doing. So if you were to look at their Instagram and Facebook, you're going to see really great content where they give tips and they're talking. I see pictures of their family and their kids and their lives, but I also see another one sold, just listed, coming soon, just sold, just listed, coming soon, just sold, just listed, coming soon. It's just the salt. It's not bombarding me where I can't, ad nauseum, where I can't take anymore, but it's enough that I'm like, oh, these guys are crushing it. And then like Aaron will say, I get a text from a buddy, like, you guys are really knocking it out of the park this year, aren't you? Another example, Brian Skates, also Minneapolis. Brian Skates, like his marketing is like, he's just a machine. Like he's more of a prospecting guy, make his calls, conversion, a really good agent. But his social proof on his Instagram and Facebook is solid. And it's just not overwhelming, but it's just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold. That kind of a cadence. And people get the idea. He was last year sending out bomb videos to his database, just there on an email drip whenever he was selling property. They were just kind of part of the story, so to speak. And he had sold so many houses, he decided not to send one out one time, like in December or something, because he's like, I've just been inundating these people with stuff. And what does he get? A text message from his buddy. Hey, did you have a rough month? Didn't have any sales? And he's like, no, I had a great month. I was just trying to slow my draw a little bit.
Trying to like not overwhelm you guys.
And so here's the contradiction. Even if you're getting lower engagement on the social proof, I think you still need it. I know you still need it because if you really want to get results, you've got to give people enough currency that they're like, okay, when I make the referral, when I choose to work with you, it says something about me personally. And so I want to kind of have that, by extension, benefit to me. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, and I would tell you guys another example. One of my clients who she will do case studies, right? And it's really more like, I just did this transaction. You're not gonna believe what happened. And then she tells the story, and of course, obviously, it's the hero's journey. It's we had this intention. things went, complete shit burrito.
Yeah.
This is how I solved it. This is what happened. This went this, and it finishes, and it's almost like any one of your friends that might also say, "Can you believe what's happening with politics right now?" Or, this is what's going on in the school system. She's just telling you a story about what's
I
happening.
think
What's
that's
relevant.
critical.
It's really cool.
That's a great distinction, because I could be misinterpreted here.
Yeah.
I could be saying, but you just said create a conversation, comments, like we kind of
Yeah.
teased it, but we didn't get into the benefit of comments on
Let me get
Facebook and Instagram. But it's like, if I'm just posting billboards all day long, that's not doing me any good either. So I think you clarified in a nice way where it's like, tell a story, invite people into that conversation.
Yeah.
Again, why are you posting up social proof? Is it for you and for your own ego?
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's for the benefit of the people to say, okay, I can trust this person.
For sure. I think of other ones where you just do a behind the scenes, right? You're standing at your white wall and you're mapping something out, and you ask your assistant or your friend or your dog, whatever, somebody snaps the photo, and it's you, and you're like, I was hired to sell this property, and I knew it was going to be a unique situation because it's the largest property, it's the smallest property, it's the most unique, but whatever it is, or there's tons of inventory, and these people really need to sell. And I spent 7 hours in my office thinking through 37 years of selling homes, and I came up with the 37 best marketing campaigns I had created. And I want to let you guys know that amongst all of this competition, we sold the house in 14 days. We got them 102%, and there's 9 other homes on the market in that area that are on the market for 6 months.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not just bragging, but it was really interesting for me to codify 37 years of selling homes, and so you're telling this interesting story, but the photo is them standing at the wall, writing out all this sort of mad scientist stuff.
It's almost like, what does Jay call it? He calls it, it's my stream of consciousness.
Exactly.
Like, it's just having it right there.
Exactly.
I love that. And another thing you do too, to kind of, for lack of a better phrase, water it down a bit, because you don't want it to feel like bragging directly. Because it's not about you.
Yeah.
So for example, let's say that I'm thinking of Sean Ryan. We talked about this yesterday.
Yep.
So Sean Ryan, when he sells a house, literally.
Sean in Calgary?
No, he's in Sarnia, Ontario.
Yeah.
So when Sean sells a house, not always, but generally speaking, sellers will wait in line. He has a whole launch process where it's a week long. So they're like, we're gonna go next week because these people are going this week to launch a listing into the marketplace.
Yeah.
That's how calculated he is.
Yeah.
But whenever he sells a property, and he sells a lot, he has a just sold campaign that comes from his business page. So it's kind of straight up a business post or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, this property just sold, 52,818 social media hits in big letters.
Yeah.
And then at the bottom it breaks down where those views and impressions and reach came from.
You need to slow this
YouTube.
down and say this again, because I heard this yesterday in our mastermind, and I was like, that is so good.
It is good.
Do it again a little slower. Actually, look right at the cameras and tell them.
Hello. I'll be addressing you today, my fellow viewers.
All right, thank you.
So Sean Ryan, he's a rock star client in Sarnia.
Yeah.
This is a campaign, I want to be clear, he's doing this campaign on his business Facebook page.
Yep.
And then I'm going to talk about how to share it over to your personal profile in just a second. So it starts on the page, and it's just like a flyer type of post.
Yeah.
And it says, it's got the picture of the house or whatever, and the address, and it says, sold, somewhere in big letters, 52,818 social media hits, and big Batman graphics or whatever.
That's the headline.
That's the headline.
Sold 52,875 social media hits, whatever.
He uses the word hits.
Yeah.
I think it's fine because that's a generic term for most people, I think.
Every marketer right now is going, oh yeah, you mean actually tell them the result, because the average agent can't do that. Law of contrast, I'm doing better.
So then at the bottom, it breaks down where did those social media hits come from.
Yes.
And he's got an Instagram icon, YouTube icon, Facebook icon, the MLS, Realtor, in his case, Realtor.ca. He does radio ads, so radio impressions, number of appointments. He breaks it down, all those things to quantify where did this viewership come from, because listen, any home that doesn't sell, it's always a result of a lack of exposure. So he's kind of seeding that idea. So it breaks it down, and then at the bottom, the conclusion is basically, Sean Ryan gets, so I got to spell this out a little bit. So the social media part, let's say he got 5,000 impressions through Realtor.ca and on the MLS. Well, if he got 5,000 there, and he got a total of 50,000 roughly, that means he did 10 times the reach of what your standard agent would have done.
Bingo.
And that's the key right there. So a lot of agents, I've heard this.
And every agent says, oh, I'm going to post your stuff. And they actually say it like this. I'm going to post your listing on social media.
Yes. Well, and that's, yes, drive me crazy. We're gonna leverage the latest of the social medias. Like that's how
social media.
Social medias. Could you please break that down for me? Like Sean at his listing presentation, he says, I'm gonna run this ad, and then I'm gonna run this ad, and then I'm gonna run this ad, and he's literally showing them screenshots of what he's doing at this point in time. I'm off on, this is a passion.
It's a very positive tangent.
Yes. Anyways, at the bottom it says we get like 10 times the reach of the average agent. Now, a lot of agents will go into a listing presentation and say, Tom, listen, when I sell your house, I'm gonna do the same thing every other agent does. They're all gonna do the same thing. They're gonna list it into the MLS, and it's gonna syndicate across 200 websites or whatever it is, and that's gonna how we reach all the buyers. Wrong. Because Sean's proving that wrong.
Yes.
And in fact, he's getting buyers off of his Facebook ads that he's running. He even says, like, for example, I run ads across 15 different social platforms. It just so happens that Facebook owns 15 different spaces to run the ad.
Yes.
So you have to take the time to explain what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like right now I'm kind of on a listing presentation tangent. Allow me to resume. So he does this social proof post that breaks all this down on his page. And then he goes to his profile, he finds that post on his page, and he presses share. And then he adds a little love at the top. He doesn't just blanket share it. He says, hey, this meant a lot to be able to do this particular listing or whatever. We're so thankful that the house sold really fast, and I love what I get to do. It's something endearing, heartfelt, true, authentic, right? And when he does the share to his profile and then adds a little extra language, it softens it to where it's not just this billboard, but instead he's taken the time to put his own words to it and what it meant to him, and that warrants a response. It warrants a comment.
So let's go into audits, right? So we got YouTube with us live, we got Instagram with us live, we're live, obviously not live, but we're doing our podcast, Facebook, and everything else. So I get asked all the time in my Instagram stories, Tom, can you take a look at my social pages? And you know, every now and then I will like stop and I will look and I'll say, well, first, like the most obvious one is, why do you have a photo on there of your company brand logo, not your face? I don't want to have a conversation with your logo. You're not Nike, right? You're a real estate agent. Like that's one. One in particular I think of, I went on her Instagram page and this is all I saw was house. It just, from beginning to end. Now they're very successful. So I clicked on like the first one, the third one, the 18th one, the 121st one, and it was like, no likes, no comments, no hearts, or worse, 3 likes and a comment and no response.
Can I chime in on that?
Please.
And what that type of person will say to you is, well, it's fine if I don't get the comments or whatever, I just want to make sure people see it.
Yeah.
But are they seeing it?
No one is
seeing it.
That's why there's no likes, no hearts. You can actually go on your business page and see that there's no views.
That's right. Nobody's viewing it, and do you know why, Tom?
Tell me.
It's because Facebook decides they have an algorithm, which is $10,000 word.
Yes.
They have an algorithm that decides what you see on Facebook, what I see on Facebook, what Richard sees on Facebook, what all the viewers who are live see on Facebook. And it's different for each of us.
Same thing.
Like, picture like I'm scrolling on YouTube or whatever, not YouTube. I'm scrolling on Facebook or Instagram. I'm imagining I'm going to scroll, and whatever down here in my invisible feed, I'm going to scroll up to see it. That doesn't even exist yet.
No.
Facebook's making a real-time calculation about what should I show Jason next. I know that Jason's average user session is 3 minutes and 12 seconds. So I'm going to show him what he's most likely to respond to in that time. Now, what kind of a response do they want? Well, Mark Zuckerberg said to his whole team of developers, I want meaningful interaction on Facebook. Show people posts on Facebook, which they own Instagram, so they rule the world. We get it. Show people posts that are likely to induce some kind of a meaningful interaction, and the code means I want comments.
Heart, like, share.
Comment, all those things, and comments. So people are like, oh, I post all these houses, I just wanted to see it, but they're not seeing it, because unless your post can start to get hearts, likes, comments, shares, and all that stuff, Facebook will literally, like, imagine a kid running and the parents grabbing the shirt and saying, you're not going anywhere. Like, that's what's happening in that time, so nobody sees it. The reach is nothing. You earn reach through every like, through every heart, through every comment, through every share. And so, that's why just posting a billboard that doesn't get engagement or interaction is just a massive waste of time and energy. Nobody sees it.
So just really fast, the people that are with us live, could you just do me a favor and just heart it up, like it up, just give us a little love, and it'll just be fun to watch this when we watch the playback later, because you'll literally we'll see a lift.
In 6 seconds,
right?
It takes a 6 second delay.
Yeah, 6 second delay, but I mean, but I know, like, everyone that has ever shot a live video knows Like you call mom and you say, hey, I'm going live at 10 o'clock in front of this. Listen, can you do me a favor and like give me like a whole bunch of hearts and likes? And you guys think I'm kidding, but my 92-year-old mother-in-law is like, I was on your Facebook page all day today, Tom, and I was hiding and liking. I think I have to like pay her, but she lives with me, so I'll just give her food, right? But like that's it. Like literally, that's what makes it jam. But audit. I totally went on tangents.
No, it's good.
How do we audit our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, our business page, our Instagram page, our Twitter page? Like, how do we audit this stuff?
All right. So first and foremost, I think we just made it very simple for everybody. Look at your post. Are you getting? I would say let's keep it super clean and simple. Are you getting comments?
Yeah.
And if you're not getting comments, why?
Yeah.
And I would say there's probably a few key reasons why you're not getting comments. One, you're not commenting on anybody else's stuff.
Yep.
And so you need to invite reciprocity.
Yep.
Two, you're not pre-promoting. When you call your mother-in-law and you're like, hey, please get on, like that actually matters.
I actually don't call my mother-in-law.
Wow.
I just yes.
For the record. But
she does look at all my ads though and cost me lots
hey,
of
but
money.
let's be honest.
Yeah.
What do you do? Well, you do let Bill Pipes, Jeff
For
Mays,
sure.
me, Debbie Holloway,
For
anybody with
sure.
an audience know, hey, let's go get the, like we
Yeah.
work as a team.
Yes.
And so, and by the way, I comment on your stuff, and guess who comments on my stuff?
Thank you very much.
You do, right?
Yeah.
It's reciprocity. So
Yes.
the first thing is like, are you getting comments? If not, here's probably why. One, you're not commenting on other people's stuff. Thus, you're not inviting comments back.
Yeah.
People want to scratch, if you scratch their back, they'll scratch
Yeah.
yours.
Yep.
That's one principle.
Mhm.
Another reason why people aren't getting comments is because they're posting billboards.
Yeah.
We use a phrase at Marketing Edge. Stop posting rhetorical content.
Yeah.
That's sort of a heady, geeky term, but rhetorical is like, I don't know, my kid does something and I'm like, don't do that. Or rather I say, why did you do that? Do I really want him to tell me why? No, it's a
Yeah.
rhetorical question.
Yeah.
Rhetorical means it doesn't invite a response.
Yes.
And so you gotta look at your stuff and say like, would I comment on this?
Mhm.
What would it take to get someone to put a message in there? And the reality
Yes.
is, if I get a comment, you comment back, like we were joking, I was pretending to comment when we started out.
Yeah.
But seriously, if they comment, you better comment back. And you better do it as fast as you can, because how does
Yeah.
Facebook decode that? Facebook's like, oh, conversations, show it to more people.
This is good.
Yeah,
Up in
more.
And
And then
YouTube,
like,
same thing. Instagram, same thing. Twitter, maybe not.
Yeah.
But like, but
but a true social network?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so they want to, so like if people are tagging friends like, hey, Richard, get in on this, and you're commenting,
Yeah.
Facebook's like, that's gasoline on fire, show it to everybody.
Yeah.
And so my reach goes through the roof. This
Yeah.
has to be done tactically and fast. I would say, if you want to audit your social media, one, do you have any social proof?
Mhm.
Two, if yes, if no, get some. If
Mhm.
yes, ask yourself, is it just a humble brag, or am I telling the story? Am I inviting people into the story?
Yeah. Something that they could relate to.
Yes, it needs to be relatable.
Have you noticed more listing signs on your street? Have you seen more for sale? You know, like as an
Yes.
example, I'm just giving you
Yes.
headlines, right?
Yes, right. A question, whatever, just something that invites them into a conversation. They want to read it because, again, if they get the sense that you're just
Yeah.
billboarding them, you know, like
Does social media marketing actually work? 54,500, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, proof that social media marketing
Yeah.
does work.
Yeah.
Here's how.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing. So it has to invite the conversation. You need social proof. It can't be all about you. It's got to be about telling the story, that kind of a thing. I would just look at your comments. I would also ask myself, how often are you posting at this point in time?
That was actually one of my sort of overarching sort of macro points. So any other thoughts on audit, and then we'll jump into sort of frequency and cadence.
I reserve the right to go back. None at the moment, but
Okay.
perhaps later.
Yeah.
Take me where you want to go.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about it. Like, you know, I know from experience, and you know, we look at the data, you look at the data, and maybe we should give people insight on where they should go to find the data, because you know, my, dare I say, more global reach is different from someone who is in Las Vegas and
Yes.
trying to impact people in Las
Yeah,
Vegas,
highly
as an
different.
example, right? So I can post something at 3 o'clock in the morning,
And then,
and people in Australia are like, "Hey, that's super cool," and then like,
And you could
Europe
post-
might be saying something, and you know,
and you can post a lot of content,
correct.
and Facebook has a big enough audience who follows
Yes.
you to give it to.
Correct.
Most people don't have that
Yeah.
size audience, and so
Yes.
if they posted as much as
Yes.
you, they would get hurt in doing that.
So let's talk about that, right? So I've got 450 people following me on 4 or 5 different platforms. I'm just using this as an example.
Let's see if we agree. I wonder.
Well, so Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're not throwing LinkedIn in there, and I
I
can't stress
could.
enough how important
I
LinkedIn
would.
is. And YouTube, right? YouTube. Listen, for my friends right now that are watching and listening, YouTube is the single most powerful, if you will, medium and Facebook and Instagram, like they're the push.
So I look at, to me, it's the difference like YouTube, for example, search versus social.
Yeah.
I look at YouTube predominantly. I know there's some like the community and there's some social to it. There's a level of consistency and like I got notified when you went live.
Yeah.
Just a second ago.
I like
I
that.
did. Which I asked to be notified. You should ask to be notified when Tom Ferry goes live.
Yes.
Instagram.
All you gotta do is just hit the
Hit the
notifications
little- yeah.
button above.
We should do that.
Yeah. So frequency of a
So
450
it matters,
person.
yeah. But I would say like, so first and foremost, like YouTube's more search-based. People can find your content whenever.
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, they're true social platforms.
Yes.
And so if you have 450 people following you on Instagram, I would say to you, at most, you should post once a day.
Yes. At the most.
At the most.
Interesting.
I would even,
Should I go photo or live video?
I think you should, in the beginning, test. So Instagram's algorithm is based upon 6 factors. I can't remember off the top of my head what they all are. One of them is,
You can Google that.
yeah, who's following you? That's one of them.
Mhm.
And what kind of format of content do they typically respond as to?
Yeah.
Do they engage with video more or photos more? And it will be based on, so it's gonna be different for everybody.
Yeah.
It's basically, like me personally, I actually get better at photos.
Good.
I do, I get better at photos.
Yeah.
Specifically photos with my face in them, which we've
Yes.
already talked about.
Well, it's obvious.
Oh, it's not what I meant.
So Instagram, 450, you'd say one time a day. Is there a better time of the day? And again, all of this is Googleable.
Yeah, so I would say with Instagram, you should have, I recommend having an Instagram business profile.
Mhm.
There are pros and cons, more pros than cons, I think. It does not have any documented impact on your reach, just for
No.
anybody who's a pro user.
Just
out
gives
there.
you the analytics.
It gives you the analytics, specifically the analytics that tell you when do people mostly engage with posts who follow you.
Yes.
And so it'll tell me, hey, listen, Jason, Thursdays at around noon, you've got to post. That's an ideal time for
Yeah.
you. How often you post is based mostly on how many followers do you have. That's how most of the algorithms work.
Yeah.
Now, if you never post, that's bad. They want you to post pretty often, but if you only have 450 followers on Instagram, I'm going to give you permission to not freak out.
Yeah.
If you're not posting 10 times a day. In fact, I would say,
Please don't.
yeah, please don't. Once a day, sure.
Yeah.
You can probably get away with every other day.
Yeah.
You probably could.
Yeah. Contrast that, we're going to go through each platform. Contrast that to stories.
So stories, there is no limit. The more the merrier, the better.
Yeah.
I would say you need to train your audience with stories to post
Yeah.
all the freaking time, all day long. Every time I post a new story or update my stories on either Instagram or Facebook, I go back over to the left-hand most visible portion of the screen, which means I'm in front of you all day long.
Yeah.
So some people are like, I post my stories in batches. Whatever, it's better than nothing, but no.
Yeah.
Post them, tell the story of your day. Stories disappear in 24 hours. They're not permanent unless you
Yeah.
highlight them.
Yeah.
If you look, I can't remember the numbers exactly. Can I share a report they should read real fast? Do you
Please.
mind? There's a really cool report by Sumo, like BuzzSumo.
Yeah.
They put out a great report. They analyzed 777 million Facebook posts last year.
Wow.
And I know we're talking Instagram, but they did Facebook posts. And they break down how to get more engagement. And so there was another story, I think it was a Sprout Social study I looked at too. And that's the one I'm actually thinking of. So forget the Sumo one for a second. I just lost my train of thought.
It's all right.
On the Sprout Social
Go
one,
live
Yeah,
and
right.
do a podcast simultaneously.
yeah, it happens. They talked about how many people tend to view stories versus how many people tend to view posts
Mhm.
on Instagram. And in fact, post will get you about double the reach for most people. So people are like, well, why should I do stories? Well, because I can do stories whenever I want.
Yeah.
I'm not dependent upon an algorithm, not in the same way I am with posts.
Mhm.
Because I can oversaturate with posts. I really can't oversaturate with stories. I can keep going, keep going, keep going.
Yeah.
And they're easy. The bar is much lower in terms of what an audience expects as far as quality goes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, keep me focused. I'm kind of moving all over the
It's all
place.
good. So Insta, 450 people, you're saying, hey,
Once a day.
maybe even every other day.
I think
Think about the balance between your personal life, your business life, some social proof, etc. What about Facebook? We kind of were delving there, so go the same thing. Facebook, I have 1,100 friends, half of which are real estate agents or loan officers, and the balance are actually friends of mine. How often should I be posting?
once a day.
Okay, once a day.
If you have a massive audience, more than once a day. If you don't,
What's define massive? Massive. I mean,
I don't have the exact number.
300,000, and then you look at others
That's
that have
massive.
like 30 million, right?
That's massive too.
Yeah.
You have to, really, here's how you know. So here's the way it works. I post once on Facebook or Instagram. In every subsequent post, Facebook's now like, all right, we just showed those people this post.
Yeah.
So we've got to have either more people to reach,
Yeah.
or we're going to have to slow the draw on this one. So they'll literally, every subsequent post on a 24-hour cycle literally gets held back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So when you stop seeing reach, and again, if you use Instagram, business profile, I like it for the analytics, it will tell me how my reach is doing. And so I know on my own personal Instagram profile, I know which posts get more engagement and reach. I know that I get a second wind on the second day of a post.
Yeah. Just to clarify, does someone have to go start a new Instagram page to do what you're talking about?
No, they just click on the menu at the top right.
I just want to be clear. Like it's basically right click.
You go into your settings and then you click a button that says switch to a business profile. You click it.
Yeah.
And then it's done.
And instantly you have all the
It'll-
analytics and it's So just I think some people might be like, I need to. I built up 450 followers here.
No,
I'm
just
gonna do
convert
it.
it.
Okay.
Just convert it. It will ask you now. Your Instagram profile might be connected to your Facebook profile. It will ask you to be connected to a business page.
Yeah.
Because one of the other benefits of a business profile is you can put money behind it with promoted posts and stories.
Correct.
So,
Yep. Okay, so
Facebook.
Twitter.
Oh, Twitter.
Well, you answered Facebook. You said once a day.
Well, let me add something to Facebook.
Please.
So with Facebook, they do put a preference on format of content.
Yeah, they do.
They give a preference to video.
Yeah.
Instagram's algorithm has no language that says it does.
Yeah.
But Facebook's does. They do give what's the word, prevalence, I guess? Preference.
Preference.
It's about lunchtime.
Yeah,
I'm hungry.
yeah.
Preference to video.
Yeah.
Specifically live video. They've
Like
got
this?
like this.
Yes.
They've got their new Premiere video function.
Oh yeah.
So anything,
Creator app, all kinds of cool stuff.
anything that gets people to gather in the now
Yeah.
and have a conversation.
Yeah.
That's what they want. They're a social network. That's what they want to do.
Yes.
All right, so Twitter, I'm going to go ahead and say to you, Twitter is not my number one wheelhouse as far as vehicle goes.
Yeah. I'll answer for you guys on Twitter. Ready? Twitter is so busy that you can post the same thing 11 times over the
And
course of
nobody
the
would
day,
know it.
and you might get a combined 25 likes and comments. It's just it's so you have to be polarizing on Twitter. Photo, video,
Yes.
headline,
Yes.
and I will say this to you though, like make no bones, like the Twitter community is really strong. Like I know people that like they follow me on the other channels, but they don't comment on anything. I tweet something and they're like, "Yo, TF, what's up, man? Hey," blah, 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 blah. And we go back and forth. So you really want to be mindful of like paying attention to the people that are paying attention to you on every platform.
That's a great way of framing it. I think it is. And I mean, to echo your point, I don't know if this number is still true, but years ago, I heard a stat that the average life of a tweet is 30 seconds. And so,
If that.
yeah.
If that.
And it's
yeah.
probably, that's a few years old now, so I'm sure
I'd
it's
say,
changed.
like a second.
Yeah.
Because I mean, as soon as you hit Twitter, it's just like, and
I
it's
feel
just
that
moving,
more.
moving, right?
Yeah.
What about LinkedIn?
All right, LinkedIn. So LinkedIn was giving a lot of, like people were like late last year, early this year saying, I'm getting crazy reach.
Mm-hmm.
I've been hearing reports in the last few weeks that people are losing organic reach on LinkedIn. We'll see if that stays or not.
Yeah.
People are losing organic reach on everything, just because,
Did you guys hear that? Because that is across the board on all social channels.
on everything. Now, why is that? I could probably argue or speculate very quickly. It's because everybody's using them now, it's filling up.
Yeah.
It's just getting more busy. The mall's crowded,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Exactly.
So thus you'll lose your reach. It's just the way it's gonna work.
Yeah.
However, with LinkedIn, so a couple of things. One, native videos perform pretty darn well.
Yeah.
Specifically short ones perform
Yeah.
well, like under 90 seconds. And this is
Yeah.
coming out of that Sumo report with
Yeah.
the analytics on how to get engagement. They talked about LinkedIn too. LinkedIn videos that are short and native, meaning, and what does native mean? Native just means I uploaded the video. I didn't post a link to my YouTube video.
Exactly.
I uploaded, what you should always do on every social profile.
Yeah.
If you're doing videos, upload the video. That's just an expectation.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, native videos are performing very well.
Yeah.
I think LinkedIn's a kind of like Twitter, what you
Yeah.
just said, where it's really great for conversation. LinkedIn has some cool features. One of which is the what is everyone talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this sidebar in LinkedIn that tells you what are the most popular articles and posts on LinkedIn, and you can subscribe to specific hashtags too. But that feed of what's most popular is based upon who you follow and are connected with on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Now, my best guess is most everybody watching and listening has no idea who they're actually connected with on LinkedIn because they've received so much spam in-mail, they just accepted connections that were only there so they could spam you with in-mail.
Yep.
So to use LinkedIn effectively, I'm going to contend that you need to prune the contacts some.
Yeah.
You need to go in there and make it an actual usable
Who do I
platform for
really
you.
know?
Yeah,
I
who
think
do I?
that's my phone book.
Yes. Yes.
Not my database of cold prospects. My
Yeah.
phone book.
I mean, like, think of a BNI networking group.
Yeah.
If I walk into a room of 6,000 people I don't know, I might have some, I'm going to look for the people I know to network.
There you go.
LinkedIn's the like, get it to be a place where you can actually network. And then it will, on that what's everyone talking about feed, it's going to be based upon what are the people I'm connected with talking about?
Yeah.
That's the idea. So I can comment, jump in, that kind of thing. Postings probably about the same as Facebook, based upon the size of my audience. I think you can probably get away with a little bit more only because the culture is this is a business space. I'm not going to get gagged out with you posting more. It just, but your reach may go down somewhat. I would say that commenting and playing the community is a big part of it.
100%.
I would say keywords in your profile are a big part of it so people can find you. I would say recommending others so they recommend you is a big part of it. And I would say create search alerts, which is a pretty cool feature of LinkedIn. You can create search alerts that say, just for instance, like let's say I'm recruiting agents in my marketplace. I could create a search alert in my area for anybody whose title changes to real estate agent or realtor, and then ping, it notifies me. And I'm like, somebody I can network with and get to know. I just see, I mean,
you just rattled off a bunch of really, go through that one more time for all things LinkedIn. You said, I really paid attention to you, went bam, 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 bam.
All right, so LinkedIn, what did we say? We said, one, it's a commenting kind of platform, so I want to engage with people. I want to think of it as a networking group. That's how I look at it. So there's this, what is everyone talking about
your
feature?
profile keywords.
So we said, what's everyone talking about? You got to get a clean list of contacts so you actually see relevant stuff. 2, make sure your keywords in your title, in your profile, in your summary, they tell people how to find you. Don't say like, I don't know, exceptional concierge of trust making. Like that's, no one's going to search for that.
Marketing ninja.
Say realtor, real estate agent, real estate broker, or whatever you are. Don't
help you buy and sell real estate.
Yes, be clear. Be clear, because those are search terms, and so people do a lot of searches looking for people on LinkedIn. I think the next one I said was recommendations.
Recommendations.
The best way to get recommendations is to A, give others recommendations, and to B, ask for recommendations. I would make that a part of your ritual to get more recommendations. Also, the skills, people can endorse you for skills. That's like a like versus a comment in LinkedIn terminology, but the recommendations are powerful. And I think the last thing I said was that create a search on LinkedIn. So you can actually create a search, and you can be alerted when somebody, like for example, I could create a search that says, whenever somebody who's a doctor moves to this area, I assume they moved to this area, notify me. Like I could do those types of things as far as the functionality goes.
Smart.
I see it mostly as a great tool for recruiting, potentially, a new agent.
Well, it's really why Microsoft buy it, right? I mean, there's a lot to that. All right, we're gonna talk YouTube, but I'm gonna do something totally random. I'm gonna ask Rich to step over here, who's behind all the cameras. So you have to somehow sneak your way behind multiple phones.
He's like in a fortress of tripods.
Several tripods.
It's gonna go on for another 5-10 minutes though.
I know, but I know, that's good. No, now I want to talk about YouTube.
Yes.
And so Rich, as many of you guys know, Rich has taken my YouTube channel from 30,000 subscribers to 280,000 subscribers. So we talk a lot, right, between he and I and Sean and Tristan, who are our other just rockstar videographers. So we're talking about auditing and then how often we should be posting in this case on our YouTube channel. So I want comments from the two of you. You guys like
together or separate?
In a band.
Duet.
Yes, that's a duet.
We'll
So yes.
Okay.
So whoever wants to go first, best tactics, tips, etc. We all want to get our videos watched more. You know, a lot of people are concerned about the sort of donkey unicorn. They feel like they got too many donkeys. The truth is, they probably just didn't set up their YouTube channel right or do the right things with their YouTube channel to actually become findable. So I'm just gonna ask you guys, staying on the same subject. Like, I've got 38 people that are following my YouTube channel. What do I do?
All right. So let's just talk about best practices for YouTube. Is that what you want?
Yeah, please.
All right. So first thing is I want to get some great channel art. Channel art is basically your cover photo for your YouTube channel, so people know your brand, what you stand for, etc. So get some great channel art. Serve to you.
All right, channel art. Now you gotta have your channel tags. So these are tags that are on your channel. Like for example, Tom Ferry, he's gonna have business coach, real estate coach, business marketing. So just those tags, keep it to about 5 or 6, but not too many.
And you do that based upon going into some kind of like Google Analytics search terms that tells you what people search for the most, or do you look for the outlier to say there's only a few, but I want to dominate it?
Actually, yeah. If you have your own niche, your own content, so you gotta choose words, keyword tags that people are searching for, and those tags that relate to you.
First time home buyer.
Exactly.
How to finance a property.
Yeah.
You know, got it.
Like topics, not like long tail keywords, but more like short tail keywords that describe you and your content.
Good.
So I would add to that. So like if I'm selling real estate in San Antonio, I might type San Antonio, or I might type San Antonio real estate and see what recommended searches come up,
Yes.
and I just found my keywords.
Okay.
Because we said a second ago, like YouTube's more of a search platform than it is a social platform.
Yeah.
So like, how can I create videos that are about San Antonio real estate, for instance, which
Yeah.
by the way, this is what Tim Macy does,
Yeah.
who's one of our rockstar clients, and he gets people who call him because they're like San Antonio real estate agent or whatever, and those tags serve up his content, and it is his content, it's what he does.
Yeah.
But people are like, your content looks great, I wanna sell my house,
Yeah.
that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
All right,
What about frequency, Rich? How often should I be posting videos on YouTube?
As much as you can, because there's a correlation between how much you post and how much you reach and how many views you get. And when I was growing YouTube a couple of years ago, I found that there indeed is a correlation between the subscriber growth, the views and watch time, and how many times you post per week.
Yeah. So we went from basically Tom Ferry show once a week, and now we're at like 5, 6, sometimes
4 or 5.
Yeah, right. Like every week, new videos being served up. So that may sound overwhelming for the people that are watching right now. Any hacks or tips or I mean, can they post other people's stuff? Can they go live like we're going right now on on YouTube? Like, what do you recommend?
Okay, so I have about 2 tips for now.
Yeah.
Actually, 3 for
Think
now.
about,
YouTube hacks.
and I'm going to say also, think about you, Tristan, Sean, right? Who are building your own YouTube audiences, right? So, sorry, keep going.
Okay, so 3 tips on how to grow a YouTube channel. Now, we talked about how like there's a lot more competition on social media, a lot more competition online.
Yeah.
And in 2019, I'm going to talk a little bit about Google here. So with Google, the problem that we have now is that, oh my God, we don't have enough content. The problem now is there's so much content. How do we show the most relevant, the most timely content to our viewers, our audience? And my first tip would be create good content, create compelling content. And at this point, if you're just barely starting, you don't have to create every single day. You don't have to post every, like 3 times a day, 4 times a day on YouTube. Just start slowly, one by one, create content that's relevant to your audience, telling your story and telling people your story and pointing out just something that's relatable. Like
Normally, for the day they're watching live, he would go, "This is so great. Tom just fixed that, and I'm going to edit that out."
Okay, I'm gonna cut that out. It's gonna take a bunch of cuts, but one, create good content, and that there's a whole science, there's a whole art to creating good content.
Yes.
And that's probably another 2 to 3 hour podcast.
I'm going to give you guys a quick little heads up. Like the way that the best way, in my opinion, to create content is to read the comments of what people are saying and asking, and secondarily go onto Facebook and do a poll. A social poll, and maybe give a prize away for people that answer, like, what do you think is the biggest problem with X? How do you feel about what's the best school in community Y? What are the top 5 restaurants, and you list them out and people vote on them, and then you can do like a whole bunch of content that's relevant to your community as an example around that. Why do you think most homes aren't selling fast? Do you think home prices will go up or down in 2019?
Yes.
Right? Hey, I just surveyed 743 of my clients, and 29% of them said homes are going to go down. Homes are going to go up, and the home price index actually says this, right?
Well, this goes back to there are 4 types of videos.
Yeah.
Community videos, expertise videos, which is everything you just described. Listing videos and branding videos, testimonials, whatever. And I'm at a 5th category, which is probably a subset of branding. Behind the scenes videos.
Yes.
Or like that kind of a thing. I mean, you could create like YouTube, you can create playlists. So I've got and you've done that on your channel. So I've got the podcast experience. He's done that.
Thank you, Rich.
Podcast experience. You've got the Tom Ferry show. And this, by the way, is another hack on YouTube, is when you do different series of contents, organize them in playlists. Why? Well, because YouTube's #1 metric they're looking for is watch time. YouTube wants you to watch for longer on the videos. And the playlist automatically serves up the next one. So if I click on the Tom Ferry show playlist, it's going to just start playing one and then playing another one and playing another one. And so you're racking up points.
175, 200.
Yep. And so now YouTube's like, oh, this is a really great channel, a great playlist. Let's recommend this because we want to keep eyeballs. And their algorithm is being fed by people watching your videos.
Correct.
So
But one thing I would tell you to think about too, just on content again, is think about the question you get asked all the time. Like, what are the top 2 or 3 questions people ask you in your profession all the time? Do content around that.
100%.
Right?
I'm going to add on to that. One last thing before we move on to the other tips. When it comes to creating content, create content that people are going to care about. You can't just create content and then have people care about it. That takes a lot more effort. It may not
Because you're
work.
guessing.
Yeah, exactly. You're
Yeah.
guessing. So create content that people care about, and then the rest will just happen.
Yeah.
And what's the best way to do that? Do a poll on Instagram. Do a poll on Facebook. Ask your customers. Read the comments, everything you just said, and you're being fed. Like, create a list of what are the top 10 questions buyers always ask me, top 10 questions sellers always ask me,
Yeah.
or whatever your customer base is,
Yeah.
always ask me, and create content.
Yeah.
Like with my mother-in-law, she's like, hey, what kinds of flowers should I buy per holiday? That kind of
Yeah.
thing. Her flower shop, right?
Yes.
That's content, and it answers questions people likely have that indirectly feed into your business.
And you can think about Google. People are typing in, how do I,
Yeah.
what should we, best flowers holiday season, right? And then bam, that video shows up.
Yes. 100%.
Okay, any other tips? 'Cause we're gonna switch gears here. We've been.
I got one more.
for a while.
I got one
This is
more.
good. Keep going.
One more. When you do your YouTube titles, front load the keywords. So in other words, like the way YouTube reads in terms of what is your video about is from left to right. So put your keywords in the beginning. So for example, if I made a video about, I don't know, coffee recipes or the best way to make an Americano, for instance.
Yeah.
I might say, Americano recipe, the best way to do blah, 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 blah. So you put the title, the keyword up front because they're gonna read that direction.
Yeah.
And the same is true in your order of keywords.
Yep.
You start with the keyword as far as tags go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to say tags. When you're doing tags in a video,
Yep.
you start with your main keyword and then your next most relevant keyword and your next most relevant keyword and what, like 5 to 7 max, roughly? Make sense?
Cool.
Cool.
Rich, last tip.
Keywords, man, I was going to say that.
Let's go in.
All right. So
I thought it.
in terms of keywords, there's a whole science behind it. Like I said, when it comes to content, there's a whole science and art behind creating content. But with keywords, on YouTube, you have 4 ways you can input data. One's through your thumbnail, one's through your title, description, and then keywords. So in the topic of keywords, I would say add 1 or 2 keywords in your title. Make sure those keywords are also in the first sentence or 2 of your video and your description. Then make sure you add in the keyword tags.
Yeah.
If you have time or space, put it on your thumbnail, and that's it.
And can I clarify? By keyword, we mean what do you think people are going to search for? And that's your keyword. It could be a phrase, it could be 2 words, 3 words, whatever. Can I give one more bonus?
Yeah.
If you're running ads on YouTube, I picked this up as a tactic from somebody else, but if you're running ads on YouTube, what is the #1 metric YouTube cares about? Watch time.
Yeah.
Watch time. And if you're running ads, you could be actually programming your audience to not watch your videos because they're clicking and skipping. So the hack is, if you're gonna run ads on YouTube, you might wanna set up a stealth channel for running the ads, just as if you don't wanna downgrade your watch time.
Yeah. Love it.
Love it. One last tip. Bonus tips and
All right.
Okay.
I'm out officially.
Yeah,
I'm
okay,
out.
all right. Tapping out.
Tapping out.
Here's your
We're being
Buddha.
so tactical here.
I'm out. This is all. I'm out.
All right, so how can you tell whether your content's good or not?
Tell me.
Good content's so subjective, right?
Yeah.
So how can you
Good
tell
to who, right?
to who,
And
right?
thanks.
So numbers don't lie. That's how it is. If you go to your YouTube Creator Studio and you look at your watch time or average watch duration, you can see this line where it shows you how many people are paying attention at which point of your video. If you see this line dip downwards immediately, it means your content's not good.
Yeah.
But if you see this line just slope down a little bit, slowly until you're at the end of your video, that means your content's okay, it's great. But the key is if you can get people to keep watching your video till the end, it's good content.
Yeah. It's a book, a movie, a podcast, right? It's all the same. All right, so we've been going for a long time, and Rich is now jumping behind the cameras because he knows that I'm about to call it quits. We started this conversation about, literally with the first podcast saying, hey, we want to talk about, basically all things marketing from a strategic standpoint. Today we kind of really went deep on social, right? Validating, selfie nation, social proof, vanity, personal versus business, we really covered it all, and we threw in a whole bunch of other stuff in the audits.
Yeah, we went into a lot of tactics too.
Yeah, we actually did, but the next podcast we're gonna do nothing but tactics. Like, I want you to literally imagine rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat, tactics. But the key is, I really want you to think, every tactic's a great idea until you ask yourself, what is my strategy? So if you're watching this right now, you're my friends that are watching it live with this, make sure you get back, re-listen to it, really understand, like, am I branding or trying to generate leads? And that distinction that you shared so beautifully in our first podcast, and then the top of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, middle of the funnel, if you're not paying attention to that stuff, all these are nothing but a bunch of good ideas. Closing thoughts?
I think you about nailed it, but like even, I'll just add this on top of
Yeah.
it. Just, we talked about YouTube. A lot of people might have just like, I do
Yeah.
that much video or whatever.
Yeah.
The next question you should ask yourself is, well, what am I doing it for?
Yeah.
If you don't have a strategy in terms of what is the result I'm trying to create with my marketing,
Yeah.
well, I'm trying to create, for the people who are watching live, they didn't see this, but in
Yeah.
our first podcast, we're trying to create lead generation. I need branding
Yeah.
and lead gen.
Yeah.
And if I don't see a route where I get there, then I don't have a strategy.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing it just arbitrarily.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. All right, we're out. Get a little air detox going, and thank you guys so much, as always, for watching or listening. We appreciate you so much. So thank you guys, and I look forward to having you listen to the next one with Jason Vintan and I.